What's up, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to The Voice of. My name's Kari, and I have a different guest today because her name is Kari Wahlgren, and she is the woman of a million voices. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, and we get the lights for you, too.
We get the light show.
What's up, AfterBuzzers? Welcome to The Voice of. My name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's K-A-R-I-D-L-A-N-E. And not to confuse how you pronounce that, I have Kari with me who spells it the same way. Welcome,
Yes.
welcome.
This is the best intro music I've ever had.
Yay!
Ever on an interview.
Woo!
This is pretty amazing. Hi.
I was gonna say, where can people find you online so they can stalk you after
Yes,
this?
I love to be harmlessly stalked. I'm on Twitter at Kari Wahlgren. It's Kariwahlgren. Yes, and Instagram at Kari_Wahlgren.
Nice and easy.
And easy, pretty easy.
Now, we were talking about this a little bit before. You do have people mix up your name and then say my name.
It was the first thing that we were talking about in the hallway because it gets mispronounced all the time. But it is Kari. I'll say Kari like Ferrari or something
There
like
you
that.
go.
So,
That works. Which is funny because I've had people say Kari and I'm like, no, it's Kari.
Right. So this is soul sister right here.
Right. You know, it's just the opposite.
You feel my pain.
I went to school with a Kira. It was K-I-R-A. Our teachers had issues.
Yeah.
You're like, but
Anytime you're with like a Kara or a Corey or something, it's yeah.
no.
In Starbucks, you just listen for anything that remotely resembles your name.
Do you ever tell them to specifically how to say it, or are you just like whatever makes you say it out?
I
correctly?
usually I'll lie sometimes and I'll
Okay.
say something like Beth.
Do you say
Yeah.
any of your character names?
I usually don't, but that does give
That'd
me
be
pause.
fun.
That would be a lot of fun.
Because there's the ones people are like, just put like Batman or something and have people yell out, or you can put Wonder Woman. I saw you're a fan.
I'm such a big
Diane.
fan.
You can
Oh,
say you're Diane.
I could say Diana Prince.
Mm-hmm.
You think anybody would notice?
No.
That'd be
Just say it.
amazing.
Well, it'd be fun if someone's like,
Yeah.
where's Perk Up? You know.
I should just say Wonder Woman. That's
Sure.
awesome. I think
Do it.
I'm stealing that.
I mean, I think they have to say it.
right?
I'm just like, hey, say whatever write whatever makes you say it. I don't
Yes.
really care how
Whatever
you
gets
spell it.
my order right, just say that.
Yes.
And, you know.
Yeah. Well, you have way too long of a list for me to list everything that you've done on this program, guys. She's done lots and lots of voices. I wasn't kidding with the million voices because I was like scrolling through your IMDb and I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, I know that one.
Thank
Which is
you.
great. And well, very congratulations on such a long career too. That's pretty amazing.
Gosh, I feel pretty lucky. I feel it's knock on lots of wood. It's going okay. So
And first thing was something with Barbie. Yes.
that one, I don't know anything about that one.
That's on your IMDb thing, on the very bottom.
I don't remember that. I have to warn you that IMDb does not always get things right.
Liar, IMDb.
Yeah.
All
So I don't remember a Barbie credit.
You got to go to IMDb and be like, tell your people, be like, IMDb edit. thing.
Okay. I've tried in the past, and then they
okay.
never believe me. They're like, "How do we know that you?"
It just takes like a few weeks for them to do updates.
Oh gosh.
So what is your first project then? You would say.
I would say that the first one was an anime show called FLCL, which is
Fooly
Cooly. And I played Haruko, and that one still, they aired on Adult Swim, and when I go to conventions and stuff like that, people still bring that up and say, "Oh, I loved this show, sign this and stuff." So it was really cool because I didn't really know much about that world when I did the show, and so it was a kind of an awesome title to jump in to the world with.
It's one of those titles I feel that it's like it's really popular, but at the same time it's kind of underground. Of like,
Yeah.
people either totally know it and they're like, oh my gosh, that thing, or
Yeah.
they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
The people that know it really know it. So it's amazing to me that, all these years later, people still come up and are like, ooh, that was it.
Since you weren't so much into that world, how did you get involved with anime as your first voiceover thing?
I used to watch a little bit of it in college.
Like what shows?
I watched Eon Flux.
Nice.
And I watched Dragon Ball Z, and
Woot.
it just it would suck me in because I would think I'm just going to watch it till the end of this fight.
There's no end of
and
tunes.
and it
No.
never ends.
No.
So they'd have a marathon on TV, and I would look at, and 6 or 7 hours of my life would go by, and you're like, I don't think this fight's gonna end. But so I used to watch this a lot, but I didn't really know that it was a whole thing. And when I moved out to Los Angeles, I actually just saw like an ad advertising auditions for actors.
Whoa.
And it was for a cartoon, and so I
Nice.
went in and auditioned, and they sent me home with a VHS tape. They're like, "We want you to come back and do a callback, and just watch this VHS.
Yeah.
You're not going to understand anything because it's not in English, but
Did
just
they
see
have
if you."
subtitles on it or no?
I can't remember if it had subtitles or not. To be really honest, it's been that long ago, but they said, "We just want to see if you can kind of." I do remember having a script with me.
Oh, okay.
So even if the video wasn't
Yeah.
subtitled, like I could follow sort of what was going on. And they were like, just see if you can kind of capture the tone and the sound of the character and come back. And so I did. And the rest is history.
Nice. And then you moved to LA from Kansas.
I did.
Kansas girl.
I did. I'm a Kansas girl. I'm the ultimate cliche. Like I'm that girl that moved to the big city.
Embrace it. Because you've
make it big.
succeeded. So it's one of those, maybe
hope
if you didn't,
so.
you'd be like, oh, don't believe the cliche. But
Right.
You know.
They haven't kicked me out of town yet, so I am grateful.
Now, you studied theater, and how do you feel that's applied to doing voiceover?
For me personally, it was really helpful. I find that, a lot of people say, well, do classes help and stuff? And I really think that they do. I took dialects classes and I took like an audition techniques class in college, which was really helpful. And we did a lot of cold reading. And people are always saying, like, what are some skills that are really important for voiceover? And cold reading is one of the biggest ones that I can say. I always say to people, see if you can read out loud every day, open a magazine, open a phone book, open a technical manual for your refrigerator, and just start reading it out loud. Because a lot of times you show up and you don't get the script in advance. So you'll have, an 85-page script that you've never seen before, and being able to kind of read on the fly is really important.
Do you at least get a couple minutes at all ahead of time to get, like, read the full sentence, or they're just kind of like, all right, and go?
Sometimes. I mean, you kind of, you learn to ask as an actor in the situations where it's appropriate, like, hey, can I just take a minute with this thing? Oh, yeah, sure. But the more comfortable you can get with doing it on the fly, because I've been in situations where I'm like, can I just take a minute? And they're like, we're kind of, sure, great, let's roll.
Gotta be committed then to what your choice is.
That's right.
But would you say then that's also kind of where the director helps you at the booth, or if because then they'll guide you? Definitely.
Voice directors don't get nearly the credit that they deserve, and especially with anime and some of the video games and things where the scripts are very, very dense and you're recording everything out of sequence. Having a great director is huge, because then they're giving you context, and they're, this is what's happening now, but this is what happened just in the last scene. And, it completely changes how you interpret the lines.
Yeah. And then now you've done anime and video games. What was your first video game you worked on?
I think my first video game was Buffy the Vampire Slayer Chaos Bleeds.
Nice.
I think that was the very first one.
Do you know what system that was on?
I don't even remember. I was
PlayStation?
trying to remember just now.
I have a PlayStation Buffy game somewhere, so maybe.
I'm sure somebody out there remembers. I'm not sure. There might have been a couple before that, but none that I can remember right offhand.
And was the process different switching from an animated show to a video game for you at all?
It's a little different. If you're doing a game that's been already created in another country, you have more visuals, and you get to see sometimes some of the in-game sequences, and sometimes you're matching things up to picture a little bit like you do with anime. But most video games, you're starting from scratch. So you don't, hopefully you get a picture of what the character looks like or something, or they'll give you some pictures of, well, this is kind of the world that this is set in. So you get an idea of the tone, but you're really kind of building something from scratch.
Now, since it was the Buffy 20-year anniversary for the show recently, what character did you play in that Buffy game?
I played Willow.
Nice.
Which was only because Allison couldn't do the scheduling for it. So,
but that's interesting though, because what's it like voicing a character that's already well known, either a real person that's been established? Is it like a mimicking thing that you need to try to do, or?
That's a great question. It's there are some people that I know in the voiceover world, and they're really gifted at voice matching, and it's a whole thing. It's a whole subculture of VO. So I have friends that have been the voice of Sean Connery for years, or somebody who's the official voice of this celebrity. And that's never been exactly what I do, but I've done it from time to time, and I was just such a huge fan of the Buffy TV show, so that I just felt a lot of gosh, don't let me mess it up too badly, because I love her.
Did you fangirl a little bit?
So much. So much.
Yeah.
I might have squealed in my car
Yay.
very loudly when that
But
that
that's
happened.
cool, though, to work on a project that you enjoyed another medium of it, and so now you get to work on it.
Yeah. Just to be part of it in some small way was really, really special.
Actually, a random question then. What is the most bizarre reference or random one that fans bring up to you that they're like, oh my gosh, I'm a fan of that something you did?
Wow, that's a really good question. Sometimes it'll be, did you play the lady cashier in that episode of, such and such a cartoon? So it'll usually be some teeny tiny 1 or 2 line part, and I won't even sometimes remember it. I'm like, I vaguely remember doing that, yes. And so,
but apparently you did a good enough job that these people are like, that thing, I know
lady
it.
cashier #1 was really memorable. Apparently,
right? Apparently you said something that stood out.
Yeah, something. Here's your change, sir.
Now, is there any difference between doing a Japanese cartoon, like an anime, versus an American cartoon?
Yeah, and that's something I get asked a lot. And the biggest difference is that with anime, it's already been created. So you're basically kind of dubbing it into English. So when you go into the studio, you're by yourself, and you see all of the artwork. You see the facial expressions in the scene. You hear the beautiful musical score. You hear the emotion in the Japanese actor's voice in your headphones. So it's all kind of painted for you. And then you go in and kind of do as much honor to the original interpretation as you can. With US animation, we do it the opposite way. So we go in and we record the voices first, a lot of times as a cast, and then they send it off somewhere and they animate it to us. So if sometimes if you have the artists in the room with you while you're recording, if you do a big facial expression like this when you do a line, then when the animation comes out, they may animate it with your facial expression doing like this.
Does that ever trip you out?
It's so cool. It's fun. It's just, it fangirls me. I fangirl a little bit about it.
Do you ever have a moment where you're watching it and then you're like, that's totally an ism I do?
Yes. Yes. There have been a couple of times where that has happened, and it's just very squeal worthy.
Nice. We have a couple photos from stuff you've worked on. Let's pull up this first one here if you want to elaborate on it. So we get you here. So who is this character and what is this program?
This is one of my very newest characters. This is Amanda from Bunsen is a Beast on Nickelodeon. And we just started premiering it in the last couple of weeks. And Amanda clearly has a lot of orthodontia in her mouth and is very evil, but very goal-oriented with the evil, and is trying to get Bunsen the Beast thrown out of middle school because she doesn't like the fact that he is different and spoiling her plans to pretty much dominate everything.
So how fun is it to play a villain?
It's so fun! It is so fun. I mean, people will say, is it more fun to play a hero? It's a villain. It's more fun to play the villain.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
They're just getting thwarted all the time is the problem, you know? So.
Well, we have another photo here from Bunsen is a Beast of the whole gang, if you will. So that's the Beast then in the center, I'm guessing?
That's Bunsen in the middle, and then right to the side of him is Mikey, his best friend, his best human friend at school. And it's just such a fun, fast-paced, cute show. And it's just all about them learning about each other's differences and celebrating those differences and, you know.
Yeah, and that one's coming out.
It's out.
Yes.
It just released.
Came out, right?
Yeah, in the I think we premiered the show about a week and a half ago. So it's now on Saturday mornings on Nickelodeon.
All right, guys, Saturday morning, Nickelodeon.
Yeah, check
you
it
know
out.
where to go.
Yes.
And then we got another different kind of character here.
Totally different character here.
Why don't you say who is this character? Here?
This is Starfire. This was probably from the Justice League versus Teen Titans movie. And the exciting thing is that we have now made the sequel, which is the standalone Teen Titans movie, and it's Teen Titans: The Judas Contract.
Okay.
And it's so exciting, the timing of this, because I can announce that we're going to premiere it at WonderCon at the end of this month. It'll be the very first time that it's being shown.
Are you going to WonderCon then?
I am. I'm going to be at WonderCon, and I'm very
Nice.
excited about that. That most of the cast is going to be
Oh, good.
at WonderCon for
So
it.
if you guys are going to WonderCon, now you know what you're supposed to go watch.
Yes. You got to make it. There's nothing else going on that's
No,
more important
nothing.
at WonderCon than our movie. But I'm pretty excited about it, and it's been such a great character to play. So.
Oh, if you want to give a sample of that voice.
Starfire's very different. Titans, we all have responsibilities, and the first responsibility is to each other as a team.
So how do you come to her voice? Like the other one from Bunsen, and make sense of, there's obviously a visual impairment in the way she has. Braces do affect how you talk.
Braces do, and I know that from personal experience that
Likewise.
they
You know how you talk
high
really
five.
big right after you get them off because you're
Yeah.
used to the brackets? Yeah,
do. Yeah, it's just everything's just kind of slightly more,
a little bit.
cautious.
So then how do you come to a character like Starfire then, of how to get that voice?
It was with Starfire. It was really cool. They had kind of an idea that they wanted to go with. They wanted a slightly ethereal quality to her voice. They definitely wanted that slight alien quality. It's far enough along in the Bible of the world that she's been with the team and on Earth for an amount of time, so her English is good. But there's still just that slight tiny bit of kind of like regalness and sort of figuring out what some of the nuances of English mean and some of the phrases and slang. So they wanted kind of to capture that while still having her be believable as a leader.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Moving on, we got another photo. So this is probably a pretty well-known character.
This is Tigress from
Kung Fu Panda.
Legends of Awesomeness.
Now, this is another example where somebody else voiced it originally in the movies.
Yes.
So do you try to mimic Angelina Jolie's voice?
For this character, it was very, very interesting because it came down to myself and one other girl.
Okay.
And Angelina Jolie had done it in the movie, and apparently when we went to this last callback, the other gal sounded a little bit more like Angelina Jolie, but they wanted to push the comedy of Tigress a little bit more with the TV series. So they were liking some of my acting choices. So they went with me. So it's not a dead-on Angelina Jolie voice match, but it still captures the character from the movies and kind of just expands on it.
So now you know I have to ask you. Give me a sample of that then, too.
Oh gosh, it's so much
It's so on
pressure.
the spot,
It's so performance anxiety. It's, Poe, you have to be part of the Furious Five. The Jade Palace isn't going to run itself, Poe. We need you to be a leader after you eat your dumplings.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. I can hear it, and it is, I can see, like, it is a good point on the people making it, of, like, sometimes you maybe have to make some slight adjustments because clearly it's not that person.
Yeah.
Unless they point out, like, guess what? They're back.
Right, exactly.
You know,
so
it's not really,
it was,
like, a secret.
It was interesting. It was interesting for me, and you know, they did keep you know, a lot of her her sound, but they just kind of
A little
pushed
more
it.
comedic.
A little more comedic.
So she's kind of the dry, straight character.
Very much so. She's the very dry, straight man.
So what's that like, being that kind of a character?
Oh, it's harder. It's so much harder because, you know, and especially when you get in a big group and you're recording and everybody's just getting to be really zany and, you know, off the wall and getting all these zingers, and you just have to be the voice of reason. That kind of brings it back.
Do you ever have to hold back your laughter?
Yeah, often. There are definitely sessions where I'm literally sitting like this, trying not to laugh while somebody's recording and stuff like that. And I've cracked myself up a few times because I'm a big dork. So in those cases, they're like, okay,
Or maybe you're just
run it
funny.
again. I hope so.
Now, speaking of that kind of a character being like serious, and just actually a moment right now. So if you guys are just listening to this, as she was talking, she smiled, and you can hear the smile. So do you have to keep a straighter face so you don't sound happy?
That is a great question. I will tell you that I've ruined more takes because I was trying to say a serious line, and you can hear in the voice that I'm having some difficulty not smiling.
Yeah.
But it's also very effective. Like it's great that you point that out because as a voice actor, you'll get the note, add a little smile to the read, and you're like, what does that mean? But you can hear it when you smile just a little bit more. You can hear it in the voice, and that's going to help you sell cereal. You know?
I was just going to say, I'm a cereal or Skynet.
Right? Did you want to buy something with it? Yeah.
Right?
That's what we hope.
And then I think I got another photo. And so you've been a big part of the Star Wars universe as well.
Yes.
So who is this? Who are we looking at here?
This is Jedi Sarah Kato, I believe, from, I think this was the Revenge of the Sith video game. And it's been a while ago, so I'm trying to remember. I think her voice was just kind of, you know, straightforward like this, and I'm gonna, you know, mess you up with my lightsaber. That's not really what she sounded like, but it's basically the general effect of it. But I also do the female Jedi Knight in the Old Republic ongoing game, and have done Sealery, I think was a dark Sith in another game. So so it's kind of just like all my fingers are in the pots of the
Quite
Star
a few
Wars.
pies?
Yeah, is that it?
Well, you said pots, but
Pies are better. Pies are better than pots.
Yes. I was gonna say, I'm like, sorry, I guess I should have told you this was a pop quiz of like, do you remember this character?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's really hard because sometimes.
Well, you have a long list too to remember all of them.
Well, it sounds so. Doesn't that just? It's such a long.
No, it is of like scrolling through the different characters, and if it is a shorter role or something, and not that they're any less important, but you know, it's like. Let's give you a moment to go, wait, let me go through the Rolodex.
It's very true. And sometimes you'll record something, especially with video games. You'll record something and it might be 2 years before it comes out. And so, and you may have gone in for just a few hours to record the role. So it can be really, and I Jedi mind wipe myself after pretty much every session because of all the non-disclosures that we sign.
True that.
So it's always really embarrassing to me if a fan comes up and they're like, oh my gosh, I loved you in such and such a thing. And it was from, 13 years ago. And they're like, can you do her voice for me? And I'm like, why don't you tell me what your favorite line was, and we'll work on.
That's a good way to lean into it.
So I'll try, but sometimes you just can't remember from 13 years ago.
Right. No, of course. It's a while, and then just when so many variances in the voices.
Yeah.
So what's it like then if you're working on one project, but you're doing multiple voices within that project?
It's so much fun in the moment when you're doing it. Like my favorite sessions are when I show up and they're like, "You're also going to play Old Woman in the Grocery Store and Kid Number 2." So those are the most fun because you get to do a lot of different things in the session. Now, if those characters come back and you come back, then you're just like, "Please, engineer, please have recorded a little voice sample and have a reference for me because I can't remember what I ate for breakfast." And
fair enough.
Yeah.
No, totally. And I think there's one. Oh yeah, well we got the nut job coming up soon.
oh yeah,
I was having a little trouble finding your character per what their photo is. Are they in this photo?
she is the little groundhog
Okay,
in the
cool.
back on the right. She's the
Got it.
smallest of the three of them.
All right.
And I don't have a release date as far as when that's coming out.
I think it's coming out soon-ish.
It's soonish. It's this summer, I
Yeah.
think. And it's so cute.
I
Like
feel they probably tell you on the trailer, so go watch the trailer for Nut Job too, guys. And then you guys see the trailer.
It's
and
on
then
the
see your voice.
interweb.
Yeah.
you can
so-
go find it on the interweb, and it's going to be very cute.
What was it like playing a little? You said groundhog.
Yeah, her name's Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of a New York groundhog, you know. She's like, "Hey guys, you know, we should cross the street here. It's fine." And it was very fun. It's always fun to kind of get to play brassier characters because
Do you feel it's a way to let out anything that, because society tells you to hold some things back?
yes, I feel that way about loud characters. I feel that way about sexy characters. I feel that way about obnoxious characters. Like anything that you can't do in real life without getting a little bit of the stink eye. Like, those are my favorite things to do in voiceover. It's very liberating.
Oh, of course. Actually, I think I have one more. There we go. So
yeah.
video game here. Talk about this character. Speaking of
This-
sexy.
Yeah, speaking of sexy, this is Aranea Highwind from Final Fantasy 15. And she's a very badass dragoon and one of the ethically ambiguous characters in the game because she's kind of a mercenary for hire, so she's gonna kind of pretty much put her allegiance wherever the money is the best. So it's kind of cool because the players don't necessarily know if she's gonna help them or just mess them up in the game, which is awesome.
Now, for video games, do you try to ever play the video game before you do those characters at all, or?
Usually before the game, we don't
Oh,
necessarily
if
get a
it's not out
chance.
yet,
Like
yeah.
Afterwards, I try, and I'm so bad. Like I'm such a bad gamer. Like my skills are lacking. So usually what I do is I find a very talented 9-year-old and I say, "Hey, come on over here and I'll buy you a sandwich and can you get to level 6?" They're like, "Sure."
Not that sounds creepy at all. but-
Yeah, right? It sounded entirely creepy. That sounded so creepy.
Come, little children, to my home.
Come, play. I just want to see my character.
I just want to watch you play a video game.
I just want to watch you play. Oh my gosh, this took a bad turn. This took a
It's like,
really...
oh, I'm so sorry. Like, that's not what, no.
This is all of this
No,
is
but
going to
I
get
mean, yeah,
edited.
kids can do, they can get through so fast
Well,
through
it's
video
crazy.
games.
Yeah, I mean, they're just...
They also can sit there for hours and play.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can't pass this one part. I'm done.
I'm so glad because my attention span, like I find I get very antsy, and and it's kind of demoralizing after you get killed so many times. You're like, maybe I should just read a book, set myself up for success.
Red Dead Redemption,
You know.
trying to get that horse to go somewhere. I'm like, it's not going where I want. I'm done.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They can be just really hard on your self-esteem sometimes.
Seriously, I'm done. Now, what has been your favorite? I'll give you a moment to think about it too. Favorite anime to do, favorite American cartoon, and favorite video game.
Oh, wow. This is the question that I can almost never answer. As far as anime characters, It's probably between Haruko, because she was my very first character, and so I have such a special place in my heart for her.
Sure.
But I also loved Fu in Samurai Champloo.
Yeah, that's a good show.
Loved that show. And then with video games, actually playing the bitter queen in the Fat Princess 2, I think it's Fat Princess 2, and it was just so over the top and fun and cartoony and just silly that I just kept cracking up during. You know, and every time you get to play one of those very large and just over the top villains, and just you're just milking it, you know. And so that one was really fun. And as far as original animation shows, Amanda in Bunsen the Beast is probably one of the most fun characters. Again, you know, it's just that villain. But the thing that I like about her is that she's kind of into boys. Like, she's got a crush on Mikey, the Bunsen's best friend, but she's also about so much more than that. She's got goals. A lot of them are really bad goals and poorly executed, but she's got goals.
She's trying.
She's strategizing. She's just got her own thing going on. So it's just kind of this funny, well-rounded character, and it's just been a blast to play.
Nice. What was one of your what are top 5 favorite cartoons of yours growing up?
Oh, growing up. Well, I drank the Disney Princess Kool-Aid pretty hardcore as a kid, so
I think many of us did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Out of those, I think Beauty and the Beast was my favorite.
Are you super excited for the movie?
I am. I hope that it's good.
Right? You're just like, you want to like it. You're like, please.
I want it to be good.
Yeah.
I really want it to be good. But, you know, to finally have a princess that was a big reader and very independent and
she doesn't care what people look like.
Doesn't care what people look like. I found her to be just such a wonderful heroine.
Okay, sorry, let me re-clarify. Favorite television shows?
Television shows. Batman the Animated Series. That was one of those key, oh my gosh, I'm going to do that someday in my life.
Did you like Batman Beyond?
I did. I watched Batman Beyond as well, but the original animated series was my heart. That was my, oh gosh. And then everything else after that, like, there are just too many. Then it just kind of trickles into, gosh, I would watch everything.
Do you feel in watching so many of those cartoons, it was almost like a research of seeing and listening what you liked, essentially, what you didn't like, and like maybe applying that later?
I like to tell myself that now.
Oh.
I like to.
It was research all the Saturday mornings, Mom. It was research.
Oh, it's the same. It's the same thing with comic books. You know, whenever there's a superhero show that comes up, like I played Emma Frost in Wolverine and the X-Men, and a number of the video games, and so it just gave me the most amazing excuse to read even more of the graphic novels, and I'm like, it's for research. It's for, you know, to help me with my job. But I'm not fooling anybody. I just loved X-Men comics. I used to read them all the time.
Did you like the cartoon?
I did. That was in my laundry list of cartoons that I watched that I loved so much.
Excellent.
Oh my gosh.
Now, have you ever cosplayed one of the characters you voiced?
I have not. I have not. And I get asked a lot, like, what character it would be. And it depends on what stage my hair is in.
Or things called wigs.
That's true.
You know?
That's true. I could fake it.
I bet, like, you know, totally. To go into, like, whatever it is, they'd probably help you out. They'd be like, oh, you're going to do our character again?
I'm a little afraid of all the spandex with a lot of the characters.
Fair enough.
So I would have to think very long and hard about which characters have outfits that are comfortable to move in.
Look for casual cosplays, like what they would wear on, like, a casual Friday.
It's not my character, but I think if I cosplayed, I would want to go as Starbuck from the Battlestar Galactica.
Now you're just cheating because your hair kind of looks like that.
Right?
A little bit.
What do you think?
You know?
All I need is a cigar.
Right? Not that that's a bad choice. It's an excellent choice.
No,
but,
I was such a fan of that character too, so I don't know, but that was the first thing that came to
Well,
mind.
that is a sassy character, and so
Yeah.
I can see your admiration.
Yes.
It makes sense.
I love her.
And then, are there any other projects that you can talk about coming up? So we got the Nut Job coming out probably this summer. I'm sorry, I don't have the date with me.
I don't either.
But go watch the trailer, guys, online. I watched it. It's cute, and I like the first one. I thought it was cute. So
It's cute, and
yeah.
and if I can humbly say, this one is
It's better.
just raises the bar
All
so high. So
right.
I'm actually really excited about it. I think it's gonna be very.
It's a good
cute.
family film too, which is great.
Yeah.
If like a good, and it's not dumbed down for the adults to go see it too.
Yeah, there's definitely
You
they
guys
they
can
kept
go
in
like it.
some great jokes.
And then we got the Bunsen is a Beast currently on
Mm-hmm.
Nickelodeon on Saturdays, so guys go watch that. Anything else you can talk about, or is those NDAs still floating around?
Well, we just got announced in Variety, I think, a couple of days ago for OKKO is going to be a new series coming out on Cartoon Network. I'm not exactly sure what the air date is, so those of you with, access to the interwebs,
If you're watching this, you're online.
Yeah.
So just
go online.
Yeah.
OKKO, Let's Be Heroes. And I'm really excited about that one. I'm playing a villain named Shannon, who's just got a slight bit of valley to her,
Yeah.
which and it's just so fun. And it's just this, like the trailer got released with the theme song, and the theme song just makes you feel good.
Yeah.
You just watch it and you just want to eat some sugary cereal. And
what is that show about?
it's about these three superheroes that kind of live in this mall, and they're fighting Lakewood Plaza, and they're fighting these villains and stuff like that are constantly trying to destroy them. It's they're just trying to save the world.
Yeah.
Trying to save the world. And I'm trying to stop the said saving of world.
Because that's what villains do.
Because that's what villains do.
Have you ever had it where anybody's talking about your character of some sort, and then you like come in with the voice?
I'm usually so shy about that.
What?
I'm
not getting that vibe.
It's
Or is
really
it different
hard.
to be? Okay.
It's really hard. Like I'll be at the bank, and there will be people with my characters on their T-shirt, like standing in front of me at the bank, and I just never want to be that person that's like, I do the voice of that character. Are you a fan? Do you want me to say? Like, it's just too douchey. You know what I mean?
There's a way you could do it though that's like
Right.
cool. Like
I
just some kind of small talk, like nice weather today, but in the voice.
Nice weather today. Yeah. I don't
And
know.
see them
I
go
would-
like, what?
I would still be embarrassed. Although, okay, this is a horrible story, but I have no shame, so I'm fine
All
with
right.
telling you this. So
Yeah.
people will always ask, have you ever gotten recognized for your voice out in
Right.
public? And my answer was always like, not really.
Yeah.
Like sometimes at a convention or something, you'll be talking and people are like, are you, blah, blah. But like out in the world, not as much.
Sure.
And just the other day, literally a couple of days ago, I had to go to the doctor's office, and I had to provide a stool sample. And there was the hottest guy working at the desk so I'm trying to be cool anyway, because there's this really attractive male
Right?
nurse.
You're like, hey.
And so I'm like, hi, I'm just here to drop off some sample and stuff. And he's like, your voice sounds really familiar. Do I know your voice from something? Do you watch cartoons? He's like, yeah, I watch a lot of anime. I'm like, yeah, I do a lot of anime. So we chat for a couple of minutes, and sure enough, he like watches all these shows, and I'm like, thanks, here's my poop. Bye. I mean, it was mortifying. It was,
Aw.
but now if people ask, I can say, why, yes, I have been recognized by my voice in public.
Well, you have to go back at some point, maybe for results.
Right?
Now you you know.
Just want you to know everything was normal. Gosh, that is just, I'm dying. I'm dying.
You know where he works.
I'm
You're like,
laughing so hard I'm almost crying right now. Yeah, I do know where he works, and that is, yeah.
just be like, so how you liking that? How you liking the episodes?
Yeah.
I'm on a new show now. You can check it out.
Yeah, it was Fame, kids. It's so sexy. It's hot stuff, that.
Voices can be very fun with sexy stuff. You're like,
Yeah.
no.
You too can be recognized at your doctor's office.
That is a very random, interesting place to be recognized. Of like,
Right.
oh, you of all people.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Our-
any other day, it would have been.
Well, it's Mrs. Murphy's Law. It's anytime something can go wrong and it's in a dating situation.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Oh, well.
But again, you know where he works.
I know where he works.
Yeah. Are any characters very similar to your own voice where it's just like you almost can phone it in, or are most things like a range?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm having trouble thinking of something right this second, but there are a number of characters where they'll just say, just use your normal voice, and it is tricky because after a certain amount of time, the joke among all the voice actors are like, "What's that? What's your normal voice?"
Right.
You know, because you just forget after a while. But
No, that's true. It's a good point. And then also something, what advice would you give, or what is it like playing such a range of age of voices too?
well, that is the thing that I love so much about voice acting, and especially as a female voice actress, you just can play all these different ages. You can play different genders, and there just aren't any limits, you know. And it's very freeing. It's very creatively satisfying. I've been going through a phase recently where I was playing a ton of babies and a ton of grandmas. So,
Nice.
I mean, how cool is that to,
Oh, yeah.
get to wake up and you're like, I'm never going to play any of those things on camera. Well, hopefully the grandma stuff, maybe one day,
You still got to wait
Get
to go
off
for that
my
one.
lawn, you.
know.
Yeah. But yeah, so just in the world of voiceover, it's really great to play a range of characters because you're not limited by what you look like.
Yeah. And then I feel this is kind of a cliche question, but everybody always wants to know what's the best kind of couple of pieces of advice for people who want to get into voiceover.
D. Bradley Baker, who is one of my favorite voice actors and is just a lovely human being, has created this amazing website specifically for people that ask that question. It's called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com.
Nice and simple.
Nice and simple. And it literally, if people write and ask me that question, that's going to be the first thing I tell you every single time, because he just goes into so much detail on every question that he's been asked over his long career, and any general information that you could think of starting out that you would want to know. So I always tell people, check out that website. I tell people also, get to know what your voice sounds like. And that sounds like such a simple thing, but you know how sometimes when you call somebody and you leave a message and then they play you the message back later and you say, oh my gosh, do I really sound like that? It happens all the time. And so record yourself, listen to what your voice can do.
Yep.
How low can you go with your voice? How high can you go with your voice?
Yes.
Experiment, play. Some of the characters that I do often now came out of just messing around and playing. And don't take yourself too seriously. That is the other thing, especially for women that want to get into voice acting. You cannot take yourself too seriously. I'm making baby sounds and fart noises for the good chunk of my day.
Yeah.
You just have to own it. You have to be like, yes, I embrace this about myself, and
you're being paid for it.
And I'm being
so
paid
it's
for
like
it.
the best kind of job you can
Right.
have.
So
yeah.
Those are some things that I would say.
No, I think it's excellent advice. Well, thank you so much for coming in. It's
Thanks
been an
for
absolute
having me.
pleasure and
Yeah.
hilarious and so fun. Where can people find you online if they want to continue interacting with such a fun person?
Well, I love hearing from people on Twitter at Kari Wahlgren, Instagram at Kari_Wahlgren, all lowercase, or I've got my Facebook official fan page, and you can find me there. So I love to hear from people. So keep in touch. Send me a shout out.
Wonderful. And yeah, guys, make sure to check out Bunsen is a Beast on Nickelodeon on Saturdays, and Nut Job 2 coming out. Yeah, go watch the trailer. It's really adorable, and especially if you like the first one, why wouldn't you go see the second one? My name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's Karidlane, not to be confused with Kari. And you please comment down below on the video. Let Kari and Kari know your thoughts on it. I'm like, wait, no, yeah, I got it. Your thoughts on what we talked about in voice acting, and reach out and video thumbs up, 5 stars on iTunes, and thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you can be notified about other cool programs such as this one. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.